I'm here at Barnes & Noble and I'm checking out all the literary, not lit mags, but writing magazines, like Writer's Digest and stuff like that. And I was trying to find if there were any mentions of NaNoWriMo, prep for NaNoWriMo, stuff like that. And I was going to buy all the magazines that had it so we could review them together and see what's worth buying and stuff like that. But I couldn't find like any of them. There's like no mention of prepping for it or anything, and there wasn't anything really appropriate past like one article in each magazine. Some of them are really expensive. So I found this. That's the only one I found. We can review it together and look through it. It is $10, but it is all about, it's a full workbook and full of like writing space for you and everything. So I thought we could look at it together. So we'll do that later, but right now I'm in the journal section and I thought that we could maybe look here and see if there's anything that would work particularly well for NaNoWriMo, like maybe one of those, like I think they call them guided journals or something like that. So I'm going to share where I am with you right now. I'm looking at some gorgeous ones. These are not what I was looking to look at. Okay, so I did find a section of writing related notebooks, like ones that have prompts and stuff like that. There's really only 4 here. There was a time like maybe 2 months ago when there were a bunch more that were just like prompt related maybe, but this is what's going on now. So why don't we look at them and see what they are. Just the right thing, just write one thing today. Okay, 365 prompts. I'm just gonna flip. Unexpected associations, an ancient vase. Okay, so these are writing prompts. Some of them look like they have a little bit something more specific, like they're telling you the city to write about in this one, but other ones are not so specific. Some are a little bit more general. Let's see, stuck in the carpool lane. That has some more specific prompts as well. So this is going to be 365 days of this. Oh, look at this. Okay. Something a little bit different. Intensive week at your notebook. Prepare to write 5 longer pieces. Okay, so that's interesting. This has a lot of, yep, here's another one. Okay, so this has a lot of variety. And I think this is good because I have one that's very, very simple. And when it's too simple, there are a lot that you can't use or a lot that are just sort of not for you, you know? So I think this one looks really good. Right now it's priced as $7.98, at least here. I don't think it says how much it normally is. But anyway, it's $7.98 now. So we have Write the Story. There's one next to it that looks like it's by the same company. This again is on sale for $10. Let's see what it's like inside. Okay, this has a lot more space to write. And it has sort of words at the top that you need to integrate into your story. So we've got the love of each other's lives, and then you have to include certain words. So if that's something you like, I've actually never seen a notebook like this. This is something, this would be a good one if you're into that kind of thing and you want to have like a written one. It's just, instead of like one online, there's a lot of this stuff online. And there are a lot of challenges like this. So this is pretty cool. I like this idea. This is really cool, and it looks like right now it's on sale for $10. And we have Complete the Story. So let's see what this one is. It looks like it's by the same company. Again, a lot of writing space, But this one, instead of having specific words that you have to use, has a little bit longer writing prompts. So this is more like a typical writing prompt notebook. Yeah, they all look about the same. I don't see anything different. Even like down the side, you can see there's all these lines. So it looks like it would be pretty much all regular writing prompts, just not with specific words, maybe a little bit less wiggle room for you to interpret. Obviously, any writing prompt is up to you what you want to write, but yeah, so, okay, this is cool, but it's pretty typical. This one is $10. Not one that I would be interested in because there's just a million like it. So, and it's really easy to create your own too. So, maybe I'll show you how I did that one time. Okay, So here's the last one that we have. It's called Q&A for Writers, Q&A a day, 365 questions for creative exploration. Oh, okay, so this is more like a calendar, like laid out like a calendar as well, just one per day. I don't see any of that like intensive writing day like the first one that we looked at. Some are long, some are short. Let's get close up here. What is a mundane task you enjoy doing? And you know, you can write about that kind of a thing. It sounds like these might, let's see, let's find another one that's easy for me to focus on. If you were to completely change careers or life directions, where would you go and what would you do? Okay, like I understand how this is creative, but it's also heavily based on reality. Take a deep breath and look around you. Describe your surroundings in a few precise sentences. Okay, so this could work on the craft for sure, but it is based more in reality than maybe some other ones, and maybe a little bit less creative than figuring out like, I don't know, different descriptions and thinking outside the box in regular things as opposed to completely creative, off the wall, like maybe fantasy and stuff like that. So again, this one is a bit typical. It's probably a lot of people's, this one is not on sale. And I don't know how much it is. So anyway, if I were to choose, I would probably choose the one, I would choose one of these two. Because I like this idea with the certain words you have to use. That's always a challenge. And I like the amount of space you have to write. But then with this one, I like that intensive writing thing where you have like various prompts that are longer and some that are shorter, and they're pretty different. So either one of these, I would definitely use them. Okay, so I found a bunch of stuff in the nonfiction fiction writing section, and they've hidden away some different things here. This one is, well, it's $27. It's really heavy. It's out of the question, but it's 400 exercises to liberate your writing. It's a creative writing workbook, and it's another one where you can write in it, and it's got all the space, it's got all these colors. It's really attractive and beautiful. I mean, it's just really cool. I've never seen anything quite like this before. This is like comprehensive. It doesn't give like a ton of, well, okay, this one gives a lot of details. Yeah, so this has some like other kinds of writing advice to help you through, like breaking through the blank page. And then there are areas to write, like I showed you, with some prompts, some things that are more specific, some things, oh look, this also has some areas with bullet points on like what words you need to use in your story. This has a huge variety, and so if you were interested in something like this that would be like a permanent addition to your collection, whether you write in it or use it as inspiration and then use a notebook on the side so you don't like ruin it and you can use it over and over. I mean, how cool is that? If it wasn't $27, I'd go for it. This is like something I'd ask for Christmas or something. So I think that's really cool, and it might be especially good if you are just starting out with Nano. This might be a great way to inspire yourself. So the next thing I found that was not the same, obviously, but prompt related was these two books, which are very small, very thin. There are 100 prompts. This one's for romance writers. This one is for science fiction. There may be more genres, but this is what I see here. So this is very plain. I can try to open it for you. This is very plain, it's very simple, but it is easy to carry with you, like in your bag or even in your hand. I mean, it's really light and skinny. So you could carry this around with you. It has like full stories that it's sort of showing you and like telling you so that you can sort of pick up from there, I guess. So if you wanted something like that where it's really giving you a lot of story already written or a whole background or something, then these types of books might be good for you. Let's see how much these are. I'm not sure. Let me see. Does it say? How come some of these? Oh, okay. I see. $8 US. Or sorry. Yeah, $8 US. That's right. So okay, it's really little, but you know, it's up to you. If you think that these would help, then it's a heck of a lot cheaper than this one, but it's also a lot simpler. And then we have this, which I thought was cool because it emulated something that NaNoWriMo has anyway, pep talks for writers. And there's 52 of them. And so some of them are shorter, some of them are longer. But you know how NaNoWriMo like not emails you, but nano messages you or whatever they call it. with different pep talks from famous writers and maybe people who have participated in the past, something like that. So this could be one that you own, and maybe it has something that specifically speaks to you or to help you out. I don't know. This would be good for writing in general. Of course, all of these would be good for writing in general, but you know, this might be one of those permanent types of things. If you think that this would encourage you, like for life, then that might be something you want to invest in. I mean, all books I consider an investment, so you know, that's just how I think of them. And we've got $17 for this. It is hardcover. It's heavy. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys that I found those in the Nonfiction Fiction writing section. So definitely check these kinds of things out. You don't know like where you're gonna find something that could work for you. We just finished the Go Indie Now live stream tonight. It was so much fun. We did another horror discussion. This is the second one this week. It was The Writer's Edge last night, and then tonight it was Go Indie Now, and we were talking about horror history. And I have to say, I never really talk that much about horror because I don't watch it much anymore. I just can't handle it. But I used to watch a lot of horror, and so I really enjoy talking about it. So definitely go to Go Indie Now's channel and check that out. That was so much fun. Okay, it is the next day after the Go Indie Now panel, and I'm about to go deliver a couple of books to be sent, paperbacks that were ordered. And this is a really cool story. This one was for Lock and Key. This is an order from someone who was actually ordering both of them for friends who had read Anatomy of a Darkened Heart and really liked that book. So he's sending this as a surprise gift to each of his friends. So I think that that is so cool, and I'm really excited to deliver it. It's kind of perfect as a gift because I do personalize all of it, I personalize every book, sign every book. I specially theme wrap every single book. It comes with a charm. And so it's like a perfect gift for anybody. Definitely keep that in mind for the holiday season. You can order it off my website, christystratus.com, and it doesn't cost you anything extra for me to gift wrap it. I just do it because I love sending out books, and I love when people buy directly from me. So this is an occasion I make every Lock and Key or Anatomy sale like an occasion because it's so special to me. So I'm wearing my key earrings that you can see here. I have a key bracelet, as you can see here, and my shirt, which is Anatomy of a Darkened Heart and Lock and Key together. This was not made specially for me, but it was so perfect that I was like, yeah, that's my new Lock and Key shirt. So anyway, guys, I will be right back. And once I have sent these books, I'm going to get back to telling you about what I bought yesterday from Barnes & Noble. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, I'm back from the post office, and I am ready to share with you this writer's workbook that I picked up, but also Spider-Man socks. And Sock Fam, if you remember. If you know what that is, check it out on Twitter. This is something by JD Estrada. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I'll take my socks out. So here we go. This is what I bought yesterday. This is the Writer's Workbook, which is put out by Writer's Digest. And this is the one magazine I found that I thought was really worth buying specifically for NaNoWriMo. Like I said, this is $10, but it is something that you can use and reuse. It has excellent advice that does continue to be relevant. So this is not something that's just sort of over and done with in 2 seconds. I was pretty disappointed to really not see any articles having anything to do with NaNoWriMo other than, or anything useful for NaNoWriMo other than this. There was like 1 or 2 other magazines that had 1 article per, and it really irritated me because they were heavily promoting paid things that you can get to help with your writing or apps or something, and it was not really helpful. I think it was probably sponsored, but anyway, they were missing a lot of good stuff that was free. So anyway, let me show you what's in this. This is the fall 2017 version. I think it says it's only going to be showing until November 6th on shelves. So if you do want to get this, you want to grab it now. Let me take you to the table of content, and I will show you why I thought that this was a good buy. So first of all, it does deal with some basics. It deals with nonfiction, which some people who participate in NaNoWriMo do write nonfiction. And then it also has fiction. I will just say that the nonfiction is very, very useful even to those who write fiction. So I found this useful. Anyway, let's zoom in a little bit here. We have Essentials of the Craft, Kickstarting Your Creativity. Banish the Blank page with these 19 prompts. And those prompts do have space to write. Here are those prompts laid out. And as you can see, you know, they're all different kinds of prompts. Hopefully this is focusing. Oh, there you go. Well enough for you to see. Some of them have more detail. Some have a little bit less detail. And they have like quick tips down the sides and stuff like that. I think it's really great that they include this and that they have different kinds for different types of writers and different needs. So let me go back to the table of contents. And so they have some general stuff. This column is essentials of the craft. So this is just writing in general. The revamping your routine, that is probably particularly useful for NaNoWriMo, but goal setting for the realistic writer. Now, this is something I talked about specifically for NaNoWriMo in This Week in Indies. So when I was looking at this one, I thought, oh, this is particularly useful for this. If you don't think you're going to make 50K or you want to do that minimum goal, just like I had suggested, that's a particularly useful article for you right now. Choosing what story is the one you should work on, that's also useful now because a lot of people struggle with that with NaNoWriMo. What should I be working on? What am I most inspired to do? So this has some good advice in it. And then organizing your writing life. I wanted to show you that page in particular. I skipped over a couple of things that are relevant and useful, but these are particularly useful for NaNoWriMo. So this is organizing your writing life, and it has some specific things you can do in Excel or even in Word. And yes, right now this is more useful for afterwards, but at the same time, you can set this up any way that you want. You can use this general idea to set up something for Nano. You could do something about Nano word count, date, what you achieved, what chapters, what characters you dealt with, stuff like that, you know, tension, things along those lines. And I think that that setup, like already being here for you, could be useful, just because sometimes the setup is the hardest part. So let me skip over nonfiction for the moment and come back to it. Fiction has a lot of great things that are particularly useful for Nano, and it's giving you advice on things like the first line, and in general, you know, building strong, yes, a first chapter, but I think linking everything together and coming up with the POV, narrative voice, the story setting. Like some of this might be outlines, you know, a lot of people need that for Nano, how to express emotions, the difference between emotion and feeling, stuff like that, that I think is particularly useful for Nano. So that's one of the reasons I think it's good for this time of year. Definitely check those out. And they're quick. They're quick. Let me look at one of them for an example. I think they're each 4 pages max. So a time and a place for everything. Let's see. So this is part of a page, a second page. And then we have 2 more pages. And I do like that they have short sections, so it's a lot easier to read than some things that sort of go on and on. And that's it. Okay, that's it. The outlines area is nicely broken down, very easy and quick to read. Look, this has worksheets. You can use it in here. You can just use it as a general idea of how to create, you know, a visual sort of outline, something that's a little bit more, you know, a little bit more detailed than just bullet points. So that's the kind of thing that I'm saying is so super useful. And if you wanted to keep this forever and never actually write in it, you could do that. So let's go down to nonfiction, because there's a couple of things in here that I think are useful for afterwards, and a good way to continue using this writer's workbook. Specifically this freelance type of stuff, where it's talking about how you can sort of get into freelance writing and look at what's out there currently and how you can then get your freelance stuff out there, how to include travel, I believe this is, if you wanted to write a memoir at some point, how to sort of start out with it in a smaller context, or how to start out with it smaller so it's not as intimidating. Stuff like that that can be useful, and you can actually transfer that idea to fiction. And like a bunch of these are useful in that way. You know, kindle the underlying conflict in your personal writings, igniting the hearts of your readers. A lot of this is useful for fiction. Some of it is useful for afterwards, book proposals that you can use after NaNoWriMo. So I'm saying this whole thing is, I think, very worth the money, and you can just sort of hang on to it for life. I wanted to also show you that this one was from 2014. I still have it. And I think I talked about this in NaNoWriMo 2014. That was my first year doing NaNoWriMo, so this is kind of special to me. But same kind of thing, includes step-by-step guides, worksheets, exercises, stuff like that. Fiction, nonfiction. Let's get past this one. But look, it's got like these kinds of details that can help you sort of figure out where you should be during NaNoWriMo. So maybe you write like the dates by when you reach these different parts of your book, or, you know, something along those lines. You can apply all of this to Nano. So that's why I'm saying, like, every year that they come out with this kind of stuff, I just think these are so worth the money, and you can just hang on to them. So those are Writer's Workbook. I would call something worth spending your money on if you want to. And then I just wanted to also show you, yesterday I had spoken about a writing prompt thing that was useful, but also super modern. So it's good for some people, but not for others who want something just very extremely general. This is really small in comparison to the Writer's Workshop. You can see this is like a full-size magazine. This is a really small book, so it's really easy to carry around. And it's, you know, it's nice and thick, but it is lightweight. It does have lots of space, well, lots for its size for you to write in. So you can choose if you want to write in it. I think that's convenient. So here's just like a couple of examples of what's in it. And the reason I call this modern is because a lot of these pages will include either modern situations or modern movies. And for me, like, I use this sometimes. I know a lot of these pages are blank, but I do use it sometimes. I skip over a lot of that modern stuff because to me that isn't useful. I write in Victorian times and older times in general a lot of the time. So when I come across Star Wars and stuff like that, it doesn't help me too much. But, you know, it's a cool thing to look into. They also have this for drawing if you draw it all, and they have bigger versions as well. So that'll do it for the writing prompts. I hope you found this vlog useful. You guys, like I said, voted that you wanted more vlog style for NaNoWriMo, so let's see how this goes over. I hope it was useful, and as always, thank you so much for spending time with me. Look for my next Nano installment of short writing, pre-recorded writing advice in This Week in Indies on Facebook through Go Indie Now. And then, of course, next week I will have another vlog for you, so I will see you then.